Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well, right now I have a little midweek snack for y'all, and I am going to do something that I normally would not do. I don't normally jump on a bandwagon of, oh, there's this big trend out there and everybody's doing this, so I should do it. But this one is a little bit different for me, and I've seen a lot of people reviewing this book, which is the 52 Weeks of Sweaters. And the reason I wanted to go ahead and do this is because if I had just gone off of the reviews I saw, I would never buy this book because they did not show so many of the things that are my vibe. The things that I saw, they just weren't my vibe. The only sweater that I saw that I truly loved and thought, ooh, I have to buy that pattern is the one by Rebecca Clow. And, you know, one pattern is not worth a whole book. This book is $52 US, so that's a pretty substantial, investment. So I decided, well, I'll just wait until that one pattern comes out because I saw a couple of other ones that I was like, yeah, those are nice, but I might knit them, I might not, but still three patterns, it doesn't justify spending that kind of money. But guys, there are at least 10 and possibly even more in here that I would knit. There's an entire section of monochrome patterns that are very staple patterns. They're classics. And guys, things become classics for a reason. They're very easy to style. You just grab them and throw them on. So I'm going to show you a few of my favorites. I'm also going to tell you what I think is missing out of this book. And I'm going to show you the surprise for me that was one that I went, oh, I just need to knit that. And it's not my vibe, but I just fell in love with it. So I'm going to start out real quick. I'm going to tell you what the different sections in this book are. And then, like I said, I will show you the pictures of the few that or not the few, but a few that I really like so that you can get an idea. And then I'll show you some of the ones that I saw on other channels that just weren't my vibe and kind of made me think, I don't know if I want to buy it. I will say that anyone who buys this thinking that they're going to make 52 sweaters in a year, y'all are really ambitious. I'm a very fast knitter and I get a lot of sweaters done in a year, but not 52. Maybe if this was my full-time job and I didn't have anything else to do and I didn't do anything else other than knit, I could do 52 sweaters in a year. But whoo! That would be a hard thing to do. So I do appreciate that we have 52 sweater patterns in one book. All right, getting started. This is by Lana Publishing, and they do, a lot of these books. They've had 52 weeks of socks, I think, 52 weeks of shawls, maybe. 52 weeks of easy knit. There's a 52 week series, and this is the latest one, which is the sweaters. And in this book, there are different categories, and there are monochrome sweaters, there are colorworks and stripes, there's cables and lace, there's vest and slipovers, and there's cardigans. Now, I will tell you, I wish that there were another section in this that were summer tees. I love a good summer tee knit in a cotton yarn or a cotton blend yarn, like a Sandusgarn 10 Lena. They are just my favorite. I have several summer tees and I do wear them throughout the summer, so I really wish that had been in here. But having said that, there are a lot of sweaters in here that are just beautiful. Now, I will start out with showing you the one that I said, oh yeah, that's the only one I want to knit. And if I'll just buy that one. And that is the one, and I'm going to hold it in such a way, I don't want to try to give away the pattern or anything, but this one's by Rebecca Clow. And it is called the Tain, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, T-A-I-N. And I will throw a picture up here as well because all of these are on Ravelry. I will throw a picture up here as well to where that you can see it a little bit better. But it is just a classic. It's a raglan. It's got a really pretty raglan design that goes all the way down the side and has that ribbing around the hem and the cuffs. And I just think it's beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I like the color. I do like red. I don't know that I would knit it in red. And I'm not sure whether I will use the same yarn or not. It calls for Wool Dreamers Moda, which is a blend of yarn. It's Spanish Merino and Manchego wool. So it is a little bit of a blend. And guys, this one, it has a great range. It has a 33.25 to 70.75 inch bust. So it's got a nice range. You get the smaller sizes as well as the large sizes. All right. And then I'll show you another one that I really think is really pretty, and that's the second one. This is the Ruth, and I think this is just really, really pretty. It's got some detail. It's got a little texture up top, but it's not all over textured. And it's got a chest circumference of, or a bust circumference of 38.5 to 70 inches. Now, I will say a little something here. And I don't mean this against this designer or any specific designer, but it does really bother me when I see really high top end numbers for a bust circumference, and 70 is a lot, and it starts at like 38 or 40. Guys, what about all of those little women who need a 28 or a 30 or a 32 inch bust? Let's not forget about all of them trying to serve the people like me who are on the bigger size. That is the only thing I will probably ever say about size inclusiveness. But just let's not forget about the small women too. All right, another one, and this is the third one, and then I'll skip away from the monochromatic. But this one I did see on a couple of videos, and it is the Frig. I like it, but it's a circular yoke, and so I don't like circular yokes as much as I like raglans or even drop shoulders. But I might do it eventually, and it is one that I was like, oh yeah, that would be a maybe. But again, if I only have one for sure and a couple of maybes, not worth the cost. But let me tell you, that's the first three, and I would probably knit them all. And the Frig has 34.25 to 67.5 inch circumference. Now, there are many other ones. I told you I'd get away from monochromatic, but honestly, there is one more that I really need to show y'all because I am a sucker for a good V-neck, and this one right here is just lovely. And it is the Farasta. I'm assuming that's how you say it, F-A-R-A-S-T-A, and it's Gaelic. It means simple or easy. And this one goes from a 36.5 all the way up to a 73.25. To me, it is just really nice. I would probably modify it a little bit. My sleeves wouldn't be as slouchy. I wouldn't have those as long. I probably wouldn't have as much ease. But guys, that's the beauty of knitting your own. I can make it the way that I want to and make it fit the way I want. But this to me is just such a classic V-neck. And I think that that's pretty much flattering on everybody. So I am really looking forward to knitting that one. Now, I'm going to go on to the Colorwork and Stripes, and I'm going to pull up the one that I've seen on almost everybody's channel and tell you there is nothing wrong with this pattern, except for it's just not my vibe. So everybody else showing it and going, oh, this is really, really cool. I was sitting there going, not really my vibe. Yes, I can look at a pattern and say, you know what, that's a really pretty sweater. It would never be on my body. And this one falls in that. And that's the Abbey Road. Yep, I think it's pretty. I look at it and I go, yep, that's really cool. I would never wear it. There's just something about not having color work right here and then having color work right here. It just doesn't do it for me. And I know myself well enough to know that I would never, ever, ever wear this out in public. So I would never knit this. And that is one of the things that made me kind of go, well, this book's not for me because I didn't see the things that I would knit and I would wear. The Abbey Road has a chest circumference of 40 inches all the way up to 68 inches. All right. Now, I won't. I'll put a picture of, like I said, I'll put a picture of all these up here, but I'll put a picture of this one specifically, that arm detail. It is really pretty, but again, it's just not something that I would knit. Now, there is one in here that I would for sure knit that I don't remember seeing on any of the podcast, and that is this one right here. I think this one's beautiful. I've seen the floral one a lot. There's another one in there that's an all over floral. Again, not my vibe, but this one I would absolutely knit, and I don't know if it's Bore or Bore, but it's B-O-R-E. And it has a 37.5 to a 68 chest circumference. And this is just, to me, it's just super striking. And I would knit it in high contrast colors like that. Because I just look at that and think, wow. So I would for sure both knit and wear that one. Now, as far as the color work goes, that's pretty much all that I would do in the color work. But then you've got cables and lace. And guys, I love a good cable and I love good lace. And this first one in this section is one that I would for sure, if I can get this book to behave, I would for sure knit that. I think that is absolutely classic, stunning, and beautiful. And it is the Mooring. And it has a chest circumference of 35 inches all the way up to 75 inches. And it's just stunning. It is just absolutely stunning. And it's got braided, it says it's got braided cables and half fisherman's rib. I'm really glad it says that because at first I thought it was brioche. And I looked at that and said, oh, I said I would knit that. But if that's brioche, not knitting it. I'm not a brioche fan. I love the look of it, but I don't love the knitting up of it. So, again, one of those things that I wouldn't have done if it were brioche. Now, here's another one. This is one that I'm kind of on the fence about. I look at it and I'm like, I kind of like it, but I don't like the little, the Henley type version. But I love the cables down the sleeves. And I just think that that's really, really pretty. This is the Cassia, C-A-S-S-I-A. And I'm not sure. I might do it to where I don't split to do the Henley and just do a regular plain, a plain neck, or maybe make it into a V-neck, one of those two. But I really like that cable detail down the arm. So this one's one that I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if I would knit it or not, but I would for sure wear it. There's no question about that. I would wear this sucker. And then there's some other ones in here that they're nice. They're pretty. You know, maybe not knit. Let me look and see if I'm about at the end of this one before I show you the one that I was just looking at. This is the only one I think in here that I would think about knitting, or the last one rather. And it's got the lace on the sleeves, and it is called the Elara, and it has a chest circumference of 34 up to 66 inches. I just find that really pretty. I do tend to like things that are kind of plain, and then they have a detail in the sleeve. I think it's something that adds interest, and people always ask me about sweaters that I wear that have that kind of a detail. They don't always ask me about sweaters that are heavily detailed or textured, because I guess they assume that I bought that somewhere and they don't usually ask me anything. Plainer ones, they might ask me if I knit, if they know that I'm a knitter. All right, and then moving right along, because really in the cabled section, okay, I have to show y'all this one. Before I show you this, because this is the only short sleeved one in the entire book. And I want to say, before I say this, this is my opinion only. Guys, I do not like this. I would not knit it. I would not wear it. However, I can look at it and say, you know what, that's probably somebody else's aesthetic and would look adorable on them. It is not for me. And I have seen this on other channels as a kind of hot pattern. This would be a not for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the big collar. I don't know if it's the ruffles around the sleeves, but it just is not my vibe. If I did knit this, I would have to do some pretty heavy modifications. I wouldn't put the ruffles. I might do just a plain collar and not do that big collar. But honestly, there are other things that I'd rather knit, so I'm not sure that I would ever even take the time to modify that one. But it is the, okay, I can't pronounce this. It's Uitwaien. Uitwaien, maybe. And it has a chest circumference of 33.5 to 67.25 inches. So that's the last one I'm going to show you in the cables. And then we get into vest. And I'm going to be honest here, guys. Vest and slipovers, I don't knit these at all. Not at all. So I'm just going to randomly pick a couple that I think are pretty. Because this is just not my vibe. I don't wear vest or slipovers. You know, I just don't. But I think this one, Harvest, I think this one's pretty. It's got a cabled detail. And it's got a chest circumference of 39.25 all the way up to 66.25 inches. And then this one here, and y'all, I know that y'all are probably going to go, well, I don't understand why you think that one's nice, but you didn't really love Abbey Road. Well, to me, because it doesn't have sleeves, so it doesn't have that detail running along the top of the sleeve. That one I think is kind of nice, and that's the Rail Runner, and it has a 38.25 to 69.75 inch bust circumference. Now, I'm going to move on to something else that I don't knit a lot of, and that is cardigans. But guys, surprisingly, I went through this and I went, oh, I need to knit that one. And oh, I think I would like that one. Oh, maybe I should make that. So there are actually several in here that I will probably make. And the one that I'm just going to show you one out of the cardigans. Actually, I'm lying. I'm going to show you two, because this one right here, I think this is beautiful. It's just, it's classic. It's the Albor. It's just very classic. It's a staple piece. I could grab that and wear that with sweats or jeans or anything else and just run out the door. And it has a, when worn closed, finished circumference of 36.75 to 68.25. But then I'm going to show you the one. And this one I think I did see on another channel, and I went, oh, yeah, that one would be one that maybe I would knit. Guys, this one I will knit. I will not use these colors, and I will probably only use 2 colors, but this one surprised me because it's not my vibe, but I am just so in love with it that I must knit it. And that is that. Isn't that beautiful? And guys, I've already got some yarn picked out. I am looking at the Sandus Garn Ballerina, which is the chunky mohair. Letha has a dark blue and a baby blue that I think would just be stunning in this. And this is called the Hue Shift. And worn closed, it is a 33.5 all the way up to a 69-inch circumference. And then that is it, guys. The cardigans, that ends the book. So there are 52 sweaters in here. Slipovers, cables, lace. I mean, I didn't show y'all that one because it's on the cover. It just, there's some really beautiful sweater patterns in here. Now, another thing that I think they kind of missed the boat on. Most of the patterns are DK or worsted. There are very few that are fingering weight. And as somebody who lives in a warmer climate, I do really appreciate a good pattern that uses just a single strand of fingering weight yarn, or even lace weight for that matter. I understand that that's not that's not everybody, and probably not even the majority of the people that knit. So I can't get too upset about the fact that there's just very few that meet that criteria of being a single strand of fingering held together. There's a lot in there that call for fingering and mohair. So it is overall, this would not be something that I would have buyer's remorse over. But guys, I never would have bought this if I had just watched reviews online. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if I just have a very different aesthetic than other people in what I like, or if it is that the flashier, more, I don't know, in-your-face kind of designs versus staples and classics tend to be a bigger draw. I've only seen one other video, and that was by the Sunday Knitting Society. Chelsea over there, she reviewed this on her latest video at the end, and she talked about the classics. And had I only seen her video, I probably would have said, ooh, I might need to look into buying that, because she showed a lot that I thought, ooh, yes, I would knit those. She also lives in a warmer climate. She is just one state over from me. So that might be it, is that our aesthetic kind of matches because of the geographic area we live in. I don't know. But that's the only channel that I've seen where she showed, the majority of what she showed were ones that I really liked in here. Whereas the other ones, the majority of the ones that were shown, other than that Rebecca Clow, really, I was like, well, okay, if I'm just going to buy one pattern, I don't need the book. But guys, this book, Chef's Kiss, they did a great job. There's a lot of really, really nice patterns in here. And I think it's a really good mix of staple, classic designs and more trendy designs that you might not get as much wear out of. So let me know what you thought. Did this help? Are you like, yeah, whatever, everybody's reviewed this book and you didn't add anything new? Just let me know what you thought. And I will see y'all on Saturday for a regular episode. Bye.